Hello, Internet. We are live. We are doing Taylor Swift Lover for real this time. This time you can hear us. So sorry about the technical issues before, but we're doing a live stream discussing the songs on Taylor Swift's Lover. Um, for the sake of just keeping things brief so we're not repeating ourselves and making this a miserable experience. Uh, Alexis and I both like The Life of a Showgirl, but we're kind of disappointed by it and rank it lower in the catalog. Steve hasn't listened to it. He thinks the lyrics for Wood are funny and thinks it's a Ben Shapiro. What was it you said about Ben Shapiro?
It's WAP for Ben Shapiro's doctor wife.
Yes. So WAP for Ben Shapiro's doctor wife is what that song is. And as far as our history with Lover, the album, I liked it when it first came out and thought it was a good return to form after Reputation. Alexis didn't listen to it when it first came out because she was on the Taylor Swift hater train back then, but then revisited it during the folklore era and at first didn't like it and then grew to like it. And Steve listened to the singles and didn't care. And
Pretty
then
much.
we were going through the ranking, but we are not going to be ranking Soon You'll Get Better because we don't want to be rude to cancer survivors and just think it's uncouth to rank. Where really Alexis thought it was uncouth to rank and reminded us it was a bad idea. So thank you, Alexis, for making us into better people. But I was praising the song for it being a fun, not fun, for being a nice return to form. Not fun, sorry.
Just a jaunty romp through the death of a
No,
parent.
no, I was praising the song for Taylor being comfortable returning to doing something with an acoustic guitar, going back to the singer songwriter thing, and think the band The Chicks on backing vocals did a very good job on the track, and that their politics during the Iraq War aged very well. Alexis likes the song; she thought it was beautiful, and Steve thought it was boring, which was the highest praise he could give the song. There we go.
Pretty
That's what you
much.
missed when everything was muted. And now let's get into the Adswell ranking. So, coming in as the least best song on Lover, according to this panel of experts, It's Nice to Have a Friend, coming in last place, which Mike Walsh, who is not with us, correctly predicted this would be the last place song. So, good on you, Mike Walsh, for predicting the song. Hope you feel better, bud. Soon you'll get better. That was in poor taste. Anyway, it's nice to have a
It
friend.
was.
Who wants to go first? Who ranked it the Nets lowest? Alexis, you gave this 2 points. Why don't you like the song?
I still think it's a nice song. I just think it's like more boring than all the other songs on the album, so that's why it's ranked lower for me. Like, I'll listen to it sometimes, but it's mostly a skip for me. And I just don't like it as much as the other ones, but I still think it's a good song.
Yeah, so I think this is old people music, and so I like it. This feels to me like one of the songs McCartney would have written for a latter day Beatles album that the rest of the band would have complained about, down to like the very pop trumpet solo in the track. It just feels very very British Invasion in terms of just how like the rhythmic structure, the bounce of it, the very whimsical nature to the lyrics. But because I like that kind of music a lot, I really enjoy this track. I think it's cute, it's pleasant. I think it's a better closer for the album than the actual album closer. I would have preferred this to the album closer that we got, and I think it's a nice, like, short, less than 3 minute song. I think it's just a great closing track for the album. That should have been the closing track and then just wasn't. Steve, what do you think about this one?
Tragically, because the order things fell in, I really have to like show my whole hand right away because there was a flow to my commentary on these things. So this album came out in an era where everybody was cribbing from reggaeton. And if everybody's gonna crib from a specific genre of music, reggaeton wasn't a terrible choice. But the way Taylor and her stable of Swedes do it just feels like colonization.
The
This
Swedes aren't on
whole
this album.
Oh yeah, where's Jack Antonoff from?
Jersey.
Ah, okay, all right. Her stable of New Jersey Italians. Anyway, still, it just feels like colonization. Like half of the album, they went to Barbados and abducted an obscure cousin of Rihanna that nobody knows, and like forced her to write songs for them. And on an album that didn't have those vibes, this would be more of a standout track of like, oh, they got the steel drum thing going on. This is kind of interesting. That's like really audio distinct, but on an album like this, it just really like puts too fine of a point on that idea. It still sticks out, but in less of a good way.
I would say this album doesn't. If we're talking about like the cultural appropriation in Taylor Swift's catalog, this album feels less egregious than the one we just got back from. Like Reputation was much more aggressively, hey, look at all these hip hop elements. This one, I feel like the reggaeton elements are very subtle and you really have to be looking for them, versus Reputation is just like, look how hip hop this album is. And so, and like this track in particular, because there is a steel drum on it when the rest of it has basically nothing to do with the genre, I feel is pushing the critique. I mean, but also I understand like you want to do it, and like this came up early, and so like I have to get my digs at the album now, and so it's all I got.
You know, I mean that's a fair point. I think contextually, you know, most of the Taylor Swift that I have heard has been post Reputation. So I feel like yeah, you're probably right in that it is more appropriative of her to crib from American hip hop than from the Caribbean island music cultures. But I guess I'm just more used to the former, so it doesn't catch in my craw in the same way. So yeah, that's a fair point. That is just familiarity breeds apathy, I guess.
That's fair. You're listening to too much nerd rapper. Just like, yeah, it's fine to appropriate this culture.
Look, even MC Lars came around on that. He's like, yeah, look at all the black people that I influenced. I'm great at this. He wrote, he got a lot of flack that time. He wrote an op-ed calling all nerdcore fans racists for a guy who would later turn around and talk about how much he's influenced the new generation of young hip-hop performers.
So next up on the list is London Boy. Mike ranked this the highest. He is not here. He gave this an unbelievable 9 points. So Mike was definitely feeling this one. Now, as far as cultural appropriation, this is the track out of all the songs on the album.
Okay, yes. This was an offensive stereotype of the British through and through, but also they're the British. It's fine. You're allowed to do that.
That's basically what it is. But just like, you could just point out basically every lyric from this song. You know, friends from uni playing rugby.
For them.
Also, I appreciate that the McCartney she decides to reference in this song is Paul McCartney's daughter, who has a designer clothing brand, rather than Paul McCartney. She's like, yeah, Stella McCartney, cool clothes.
Where's Jamie to defend his culture?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jamie has said that this song is cultural appropriation also. But also, you know, it's the British, so it's fine. I think the song is... there's like a level of cringe to it with like the cultural appropriation of it, and just like how some of the stuff just doesn't actually rhyme. But I think there's also just like so much genuine, sincere happiness that she's like, I just love my British boyfriend. Isn't he cute? And just, I just this feels so sincere, and that there wasn't too much editing and thought, and it was just like, this is really how I feel about my British boyfriend, and I just think the culture is so cute. So I think the authenticity of this does make it pleasant. I think melodically it's one of the weaker songs in the album, so I think that's why I ranked it second from the bottom. But I still like it. Again, the authenticity, and I do like there's a Springsteen shout out in the song. That is cool. I dig that. Alexis, what do you think of London Boy?
I do think that out of all the songs she's written about Joe, this is probably one of the worst. So that's just kind of why it's at the bottom, because, you know, most of these songs are about him, and it's just not the best one. But I still think it's fun. I wouldn't say it's a bad song necessarily. Like, I do actually like all the songs on this album, but this is just not one of the best on the album.
I think my last point to bring up with this album is, Greg, I think you and I both know that Accept wrote the definitive song about going to London and fucking men whom you call boys. Like, give me London leather boys any day of the week over this song.
I mean, as far as songs about men in London you are having sex with, between the two, Accept does have more bitchin' riff, so therefore it is the better song. But I still admire the sincerity of the track.
Well, you think Accept aren't sincere about it?
I know, I think they're sincere about it, but I think
I don't think anybody writes a Leather Club anthem that enthusiastic without actually being.
But I think there was more editing involved in the Accept songs. Like, the riff isn't good enough; needs to be more bitchin'. So I think there was more editing versus I think Taylor's just like, nope, this is the pure muse just coming through me.
Phrasing, I think, Greg.
Anyway, next up on the list, the song I ranked last place, Daylight. Next up on the list, the final song on the album, the closing track. You know, if I had to cut something from the album, it would be this one, as evidenced by it ranking last place. I still don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's sonically offering anything that other tracks on the album didn't do better. I don't think it's a better closing track than the track that preceded it. I think the voicemail at the end is sincere, but also a little bit cringe. But also, I have done like vocal, like vamps at the end of albums that are kind of cringe. So like, I get that. I've listened to Love One Another recently. I'm like, maybe you should have left that part out, Greg. Would have been better just to let that chorus ride. So it's like, okay, I get it. I get it, Taylor. I've done the cringe too. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's still, it feels like a very sincere song. It's not a bad song. It's just, with 17 other tracks on the album, I think that I would have let this one off because I think there's just better songs, and I think their previous track was a better closer.
Save some for the special edition.
Yeah, save some for the special edition, which there wasn't one for this one. So,
oh wow.
But let's see. So Mike gave it 2 points, so he probably agrees with me. Steve, you gave it 10 points, so I guess you believe this is a better closer than It's Nice to Have a Friend.
Well, here's where we get into the part where I really annoy people with the way I rank things, and that is I had a block of about 4 or 5 songs right near the top of this album that were merely regularly boring, and this is one of those, and I sorted them by length. How little time do I have to spend listening to this song is how high it gets ranked. Sorry, not sorry.
Alexis, you want to tell us why we're wrong about this one?
I mean, technically, he ranked it higher than me, but I think it's a beautiful song. Like, when I first listened to it, when I heard the album, I was like, okay, this is like more towards the bottom, but the more I listened to it, the more I actually really loved it, and then it kind of just like went up for me. And I'm also kind of surprised that this was your last pick. That's a little offensive, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm just objectively correct about this album. Although I'm not, because it didn't rank last place, so I'm just wrong. I don't know. I can't defend myself. So next up on the list, we have I Forgot That You Existed, which Steve ranked the lowest, 2 whole points. So this was a rough start to the album then.
Yeah, I don't think that's honestly probably sequencing is the big factor for it. Is, you know, all that stuff I said about cultural appropriation. I started listening to the song, and that just immediately smacked me in the face and left me with a real sour taste for the rest of the album. So probably just whichever song was first that had those reggaeton elements would have ranked in this spot. And so I Forgot is just a hazard of sequencing. Usually the idea is you sequence something first, and it goes up in people's estimation because it's their first impression of the album. It's the first thing that they really start thinking about, and doesn't get lost in the blur of the middle. The same thing, just in reverse with this one.
So this is a sincere question, and I'm not meaning to be an asshole. What is reggaeton about this song other than just and versus like general pop about this track in particular?
The rhythm. Well, a lot of general pop in this era was using the reggaeton sort of rhythm patterns and drum sounds. So like the high tuned kind of snares and the sort of the sort of push pull beat of the kick snare pattern, the do gatu gatu kind of thing. It doesn't quite have it to that extreme level, but like,
because I really feel like it's less of a, the way I hear it, and obviously I don't have the same experience with the genre you do, in the same way you don't have the same experience with like R&B music that I do. And so for me, it just sounds like pop of the era. You know, it's, I guess, rhythmically a little bit more interesting than what she did in like her, country stuff, which was basically just like, all right, another 4/4 song. So I think I think Taylor has progressively done interesting things with rhythm, really starting with Reputation and picking up here. But I don't hear it as cultural appropriating as you do. In like compared to Reputation, I look at this and just it feels like, yeah, this is a pop song with a bouncy rhythm.
I mean, as we discussed before, I mean, it really is. It is less directly appropriative, and honestly, it's trend chasing probably. Like, this is much like with Reputation, where she was cribbing heavily from the dubstep trend that was sort of on the way out. This is just borrowing the same pop production elements that everybody else had stolen from island music. And she probably did not say, oh, I want to sound like, she probably did say, I want to sound like a Rihanna song, but she didn't say, I want to sound like I'm from the Caribbean. She said, Rihanna songs are big right now. Those are fun. Everybody likes them. I want to sound like that.
But this is like 10 years after Rihanna's heyday.
It's really that long?
Yeah, dude.
I feel like Rihanna's
Umbrella came out
still...
when I was in high school.
Yeah, but that wasn't like her full heyday. I mean, she's played a Super Bowl like,
right, but that was like, sort of like her apex
2
and
years
peak
after
was
this.
that. So like, I mean, she still has had like a extensive career, but like in the same way that like Beyonce still will have hits. That's not what is considered like the peak of them in terms of like the cultural zeitgeist. Like, is anyone gonna say like Ray of Light
but,
is
like,
Madonna's like big hits?
Her influence was like that genre influence was still very prevalent in pop music at the end of the 2010s.
I mean, it was still there, but I think that to say like, I don't hear much Rihanna in this track in particular. Maybe
I'm just citing her as the biggest name that
right.
is most directly in that genre.
So we haven't even addressed the lyrics of the track, which is basically just like, hey, I'm done talking about Kanye. We're just going to move into happy pop music now. we're just done with it. Happy stuff. Go into the happy direction. Do you have any comments on that before we get Alexis in on this?
No, I don't really have any thoughts on the lyrics. Seems generally fine on this song. Just her sounds like her usual breakup song kind of fare. I didn't dive too deeply enough to know if it was specifically about Kanye or somebody else.
Yeah, sort of the concept behind this track is that we're moving behind the darkness of Reputation to just move into something lighter and fun, away from I'm trying to be dark and edgy and just like let's just have fun and go back. You know, Reputation was a black and white album. This is pink, bright colors. The idea was to move away from
It's
the
meant to be a
edginess.
thesis statement
Yes,
of the album.
Yes.
That's fine.
Alexis, what do you think of this one?
So, I mean, it ranked like third from the bottom for me, so I don't love it that much. It's still like fun, but it's kind of just like kind of forgettable. People like to make the joke like I forgot this song existed, which I kind of feel that honestly, because sometimes I forget it exists and I don't like I usually skip it when it comes on. It's just there.
Thank you, Resident Swifty, telling us how much this song sucks. Steve was more favorable towards this one than you were, it sounded like. Damn. That is a face heel turn.
I'm more favorable in saying that my ranking is unfair, but
all right, that is also fair.
Still didn't like it. I'll just admit that, specifically how I didn't like it is biased by time.
So this next one, I really wish Mike was here because he is the most conservative person on the panel, and the gay rights anthem is the one that he ranked the highest out of all of us. So you need to calm down is next on the list. So this is Taylor Swift, one of the songs on the album where she is entering into the political realm. And the music video for this did have a linked attachment to a petition, petitioning for a equal rights amendment for gay couples so that they could enshrine marriage equality into law. So this was Taylor openly taking a political stance, which she hadn't done before. In the Miss Americana documentary, there was like footage of like behind the scenes meetings with her management and parents about how she wanted to come out against Trump and against Marsha Blackburn, which, I mean, yes, as someone from Tennessee, Taylor being like, but seriously, Marsha Blackburn is such a bitch. Like, yes, Taylor, I agree with you. And I'm glad she eventually did, but they were saying, no, don't get political. A lot of your fans are conservative. And she insisted upon doing it. And so this was her dipping her toes into political lyricism. And obviously Taylor Swift is not Bruce Springsteen. She doesn't have it. I don't think not that she doesn't have the ability, but she
hired the wrong guys from Jersey to help her with it.
But apparently Jack knows Springsteen, and apparently they get along really well. But I think with this track is that it was a very safe political statement to make at the time, because like you have to be a real asshole to be like gays don't deserve equal rights. Like you got to be a real asshole to be like that. Which, in fairness, yeah, there's a lot of people like that. But it is appreciative that she was taking a firm stance politically, and even if it's just like neoliberal white woman not making any political statements that affect my economic class in the slightest, it's still like it is an issue that I agree with her on, and I applaud her for taking that stance with this lyrically. I think it's an all right song, but like honestly, it's just a hair annoying. It's an earworm, but I get kind of annoyed listening to it, so I don't prefer to listen to it too often. But I mean, I appreciate the sentiment. Steve, what'd you think of this one?
I mean, it'd be nice to be able to go a couple of songs without talking about appropriation, but this one is pretty bad about it. Well, she's back on the mainland, but that first stanza about taking shots at me like it's Patron, say it in the street, that's a knockout. Be like, oh, this just feels like she's really, really trying to crib hip hop culture in a just real bad way. And that that sticks in my craw. So I rank this one towards the bottom. Yeah, just for the egregiousness of it. I'd forgotten that this was a foray into gay rights advocacy when it first came out. I was misremembering it as probably her fighting with Katy Perry again, because it for the most part it could be.
Well, in the video they end up hugging, and so it's like, oh,
this is the one where she makes up with Katy Perry.
Yes. Because I guess Katy Perry agreed with the political sentiment, and so they thought it'd be a cool thing at the end of the video to show them coming together.
Okay.
Which, like,
yeah,
weird to like Katy Perry being on the right side of a political issue, but like, she was.
I mean, her career basically started with gay baiting, so she really,
better show up.
Can't. She better be on that. She better be on the right side of that. She can't be like, actually, being gay is wrong, and they shouldn't have rights. Except for me, if I like flirtatiously kiss girls to impress boys.
Although I am glad you brought up that first verse, because I do think a legitimate criticism of the song lyrically is that conflating. I think that's the word I want to use. Brain's not working. Conflating. Someone like talking shit about you on Twitter to the struggle of gays not having equal rights. You know, that certainly is a choice, artistically. Right. But also, in defense of the Patron, if you listen to Taylor Swift's lyrics, she does become progressively more of a lush throughout her albums, and so I think that is just sincere. Of just like, no, I was drinking Patron while looking at Twitter, and so that's just what I did
at 7 a.m.
At 7 a.m, like, yes, I think that I find a lot of similarities between myself and Taylor Swift, but she is much more of an alcoholic than I am.
You are somebody that I don't know. You're taking shots at me like it's Patron, and I'm just like, damn, it's 7 a.m. Right, she's the one drinking the Patron. Somebody else is taking shots at her, and she's like, well, got opinions about that.
Alexis, what do you think about this one? Is Taylor Swift an alcoholic?
I mean, she does talk about alcohol a lot in most of her songs, so...
She's just the Dave Lee Roth of our generation.
She's like very millennial, you know? That was like a lot of like this new album. Like it was just so millennial that it was kind of bad. But no, this song, I think I agree with Greg. Like it's not that great musically, and like it does get kind of annoying. But she had like, what am I trying to say? I can't even think anymore. She had good thoughts behind this, and like it's good that she actually spoke out, because I mean she doesn't do it a lot, but when she does, like it's like important. And I do think a lot of her fans can relate to this song, so she's more relating to them instead of talking about her own life like she does mostly in her songs.
But she still had to talk about herself a little bit. That's why the first was like, I can't just do a song completely about somebody else.
Right.
Yeah, like she had to throw a bit of herself in there, but it is mostly for her actual fans.
All right, so next up on the list, we have False God. So, Alexis, you gave this 16 points. I ranked it third from the bottom. Mike gave it 6 points. Steve gave it 7 points. Why is this song so great, Alexis?
I just love it. Musically, lyrically, everything about it is good to me. I think it's one of the better love songs on the album. But also, I guess I have heard that it's slightly controversial, but I guess I like my songs canceled.
What's the controversy behind this one?
I don't know, like religious controversy, I guess.
I mean, it is heretical as shit.
Especially following the song where she was just like, I am praying to Jesus for my mom to get better, but also sex is dope, yo.
I'm praying to Jesus, he's praying to my vajayjay.
I mean, look, heresy is bullshit. I just wish the song was catchier. I think I upset everybody
So
there.
honestly, yeah, I ranked this one pretty in the middle, it looks like. And I entirely wrote down snarky things in my notes. Like, that only Taylor Swift can ruin a saxophone solo. A saxophone is a fundamentally cool, sexy instrument, and she's like, you know what? No, let's make it sound dorky. Let's start off with it sounding bad, and then have a loop of it sounding worse throughout the rest of the song. Genius, chef's kiss. But honestly, if I'd listened to this album more times, I would probably have gradually bumped this song a couple times up, just because I recognize that with her fan base and with her target audience, being as brazenly heretical as she is in these lyrics is a pretty bold choice, because most of her fans aren't really gonna care. They're gonna read it the same way that they're gonna listen to the same way that most people listen to Take Me to Church. But the fans who have strong opinions about it are gonna be upset. So it's a bit of a swing for the fences to risk further alienating her longtime right or Christian leaning country fans with this kind of songwriting. So that's better than I gave her credit for in my ranking, I think.
Yeah, and she's done that a few times on this album where she's like, hey, all my right-wing fans, middle finger, just letting you know.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, like, I really dislike Marsha Blackburn too, so like, I get it. I get how that fires you up. I just wish the song was better. This was considered, like, one time I was on Reddit and I saw this thing on like one of the Taylor Swift boards, like, what are Taylor Swift's sexiest songs? And False God was on the list. And like, I haven't listened to that one in a while. Let me check it out. I'm like, I don't know if this is one of her sexiest songs. They just aren't sexy songs in the catalog. It's just so okay. And that's my beef with it.
Sexiest musical sounds in the world. The saxophone loops from False God and Seabat.
Damn. Well, hey, speaking of politics, we've got another political song next up on the list. Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince is next up on the list. And it's interesting that this is another song that has that same formula as You Need to Calm Down, in the sense that the political verse is the second verse. And so the idea behind this piece is that it's about like the fears and anxieties as like Trump and the brosphere essentially like takes over political power and what that means for society and how frightening that is, which, yeah, it's scary as shit. And it's still happening, but worse. And so the song is definitely interesting from that perspective. As far as the, musicality and song itself, this was one of the ones that didn't stick out for me when I first listened to the album. And so for the longest time, it just became, oh, that's that 1 minute intro to the Eras tour. And just, she wouldn't play the entire song. She would just play the beginning of this at the Eras tour. And so I got used to it in that context. But then as I went back and really started listening to the album more and more, I'm like, no, this entire song is good. And it's a bit of a bummer that the entire song doesn't get played, but it is a good intro as just like this kind of ambient mellow start before you get into a more up-tempo song. So it's good in that context, but I think the song itself is actually good. Alexis, what do you think of this one?
Sorry, I was thinking about the Eras tour, but
please give your opinion if I sparked something in there.
No, I just like couldn't remember if the whole song was played or not. Like I thought it was, but maybe I'm just crazy. Like it started like like they're coming out to the song, but I think she does end up singing the whole thing, or maybe she only sings part of it, but I don't really
She
remember.
sings the first verse and first chorus, and then it goes into Cruel Summer.
Oh yeah. How do I not remember that? I was literally there. But anyway.
Literally there.
So yeah, I think the song has like a good message, and it is catchy, but I think it's less catchy than a lot of the other songs on the album, and I think You Need to Calm Down did it better than this song did.
Yeah, I think it was more explicit in its message. Like this one, the message is maybe a little bit too subtle, can fly over the fans' heads, but also it's less annoying to listen to than You Need to Calm Down, so hence why I ranked it higher. Steve, you ranked this pretty high. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I had not actually caught the second layer of meaning of it being about U.S. politics at the time. Rereading the lyrics, I see it now. Yeah, where it's talking about painting the town blue and the bad guys are winning. So yeah, that reinforces that I'm happy with where I put this one. In that, as far as the songs on this album go, it's one of the catchier, more listenable ones, I thought. I did find myself wryly amused at sort of the imagery of the whole song. The top layer imagery is she's portraying it like a high school drama, which she was 29 at the time that this came out. So there's that layer of being almost 30 and still fretting about high school drama is kind of funny. And
Dude,
then there's
you
the
listen to
fact
Bad
that,
Out of Hell. They were all in their late 20s on that album.
yeah, that's true. But also, like, I listen to Bad Out of Hell ironically, because there's no other way to listen to it. But there's also just the whole idea of portraying herself as a character in a teen drama show, and it's like, oh, but she's the rich kid. So if it's trying to portray like a balanced spectrum of American high school life, she's the villain of the teen drama. She's Veronica at best. And if it's trying to portray a rich thing, then she's in like the OC or something where basically everybody are a-holes.
Or she can be
So
the rich girl who needs to learn the lesson. The rich girl with the poor friend who learns and understands her.
Yeah, Veronica.
Yeah.
At best.
At best.
Yeah. So like it is funny that she, her main character energy coming through like, yeah, I would be the hero in a teen drama, but like,
but if you're viewing this as the I would be the hero
who gets better.
If this teen drama is about the United States, and then I am the hero because I am finally, dipping my toes into the political realm and saying I stand against these specific things. I stand for these rights. I understand, like, honestly, she's not making as bold of a stand as she should, but I understand that main character energy is just like, I am using my platform for these things that I believe in. So on that level, in that metaphor, I get it.
She needs to show up and she needs to buy the scrappy community center all new sports equipment so that they have a better chance in the skateboarding tournament to save the building from being bulldozed.
Right. By Israel.
Greg, you often worry about getting yourself demonetized with this podcast. Do you ever worry about getting black-sided?
And look, like the general consensus in the American populace is that Israel is committing a genocide, or was, because theoretically, we'll see this ceasefire go through.
They put it on pause.
Yeah, so put it on pause. I mean, look, Taylor Swift should have written a song called Free Palestine. That's all I'm going to say.
She could cover Watermelon Sugar and, add some more lyrics about herself and boys who've been mean to her, and then claim it's about Palestine.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, any other comments on this song before we move on? Sorry, I'm just
Hashtag
laughing about
crisis.
how much that derailed things.
And now you know Taylor Swift's struggle, why she isn't as overtly political as she wants to be in her lyricism, because it derails things.
I mean,
Anyway, so the next song is Afterglow.
the next song is Afterglow. Alexis, you gave this 17 points. I gave it 6 points. Mike gave it 3 points. Steve gave it 11 points. All right, so since I'm the person who ranked it the lowest here, I'll go first. I do think this is actually a really good song, but I keep thinking that it's a Carly Rae Jepsen song and not a Taylor Swift song, because the melodic pattern that she uses is straight out of Carly Rae Jepsen's melody playbook, and so it doesn't feel like a song that Taylor wrote. Just the production, the melody, it really feels like Carly Rae Jepsen's vibe, which like is a good thing because I like Carly Rae Jepsen. But it's just like, oh yeah, that one time, like when Steve says, "Oh, she's trying to be Rihanna on this album," or just the general thing. I think this is like trying to be Carly Rae Jepsen from like the Emotion era. Just like, oh
so
man,
she's
that album's a bop.
colonizing Canada now.
Yes.
She just can't stop.
But I mean, that's it. Like, it's a banger. It's a good song. Alexis, what do you think of this one?
Well, obviously it's my favorite on the album, but that's probably just due to that I can relate to this song the most out of all of them, so it just automatically goes to number one for me, whether it's like the best musically or not. That's under consideration. But this is making me think that I should just go listen to more Carly Rae Jepsen, because like maybe she's where it's at if I love this song so much.
Alternative hotter take, maybe you should listen to more Skinny Puppy. Because guy from Skinny Puppy produced Call Me Maybe.
They're very different experiences. And if what you like about this is the melody, then Skinny Puppy is not where you want to go for this.
They're kind of different experiences. I mean, you can listen to a Carly Rae Jepsen song produced by the guy from Skinny Puppy.
You
and
can be like, wow, this snare sounds really good. Yes, the snares in both sound really good, Steve. But that is, you're making
the way
a pretty
this man
big
builds a track is consistent, even whether he's doing, girly pop music or whether he's doing brutal industrial.
Yes, he has good snare tone both times, Steve. That's not. They're basically the same.
Production, Greg. It's about the whole production, Greg. It's about how he layers sounds.
No,
to,
I know.
Create the vibe and
the vibes are different.
You've produced like 3 albums, Greg. You've been there for this process. You know how it goes.
I know how it goes. I mean, I am basically, the Skinny Puppy of lipstick.
There's 2 members of Skinny Puppy, so does that mean I'm the other Skinny Puppy of lipstick?
Yes, there's 2 members of lipstick.
Right.
Rest in peace, Mr. Cool. But anyway, Afterglow. Steve, how do you feel about colonizing Canada?
Oh, this was in the block of songs that I found pretty boring and ranked by order, or ranked by length. I have no further comments.
All right, well.
Sorry, Alexis.
I mean, I liked it. I just ranked it lower. So next up on the list is one of the biggest fights in the album. So Mike gave it 15 points. Alexis gave it 6 points. I gave it 16, so second from the top. And Steve ranked it at the bottom. I think he knows his next on the list.
Yep. Yeah, I just so much of this song was directly sounds from Pink by Janelle Monáe, and I was like, I just want to listen to Pink instead. And
so when he says directly those sounds, he means it's in 4/4, it has finger snaps, it's in the same key, but the melody is completely different, the vocal layering is completely different, the bass line is different, the lyrical themes are different, so it's really just 4/4 and finger snaps.
It's the same beat with the
different BPM.
The finger snaps as
it's
like the
BPM.
core emphasis. It's the same chord progression. The pre-chorus, the vocal is nigh identical in terms of rhythm, melody and inflection. And it does follow the same general structure and build, but a million songs follow the same general structure and build. So I give it a pass on that one.
I don't know. I think that
But like,
it's I think it's a bit of a stretch even comparing them melodically that closely. Like I don't think that pre-chorus is the same. I just
ba-da-da, 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 ba-da-da.
yeah,
So similar.
I respectfully no, I disrespectfully disagree. I think that is
Disrespectfully. Be honest, at least, man.
I think
Yeah, like
if
Pink.
I think if she is
Pink is an absolute banger of a song. I love it, and thus this song just feels like a pale shadow of it.
so the trick is she's definitely cribbing a different artist, but not the one you think. She's cribbing Prince here.
Oh, well, so is Janelle Monáe. So they're both cribbing Prince.
Right.
Just Janelle's better at it.
So here's the thing. This song I think is I like it better than the Janelle song because it's more up tempo. So it has a better bass line. I think it's catchier. I think that the vocal layering is better on this one, and that the like high like vocal layer is more true to that Prince sound than the Janelle track. So I do enjoy that aspect of it. But also I do like enjoy lyrically how it feels like some of the vocal performance feels like Julia making fun of Taylor Swift, but it's just Taylor Swift actually singing that way. Like the way that Taylor says, I mean, feels like Julia making fun of Taylor Swift, but then Taylor Swift just delivered the vocal that way. But as someone who actually sincerely likes Prince a lot and likes that style of music a lot, it was fun to hear Taylor do something in that style. And I think that especially when you compare it to a lot of her later albums where it gets a bit too one note and there's not enough up-tempo tracks, I think that this is a standout in the catalog because, oh, that's her doing like a Prince style song. That's really fun. But also you actively hate Prince. So you rank this at the bottom. It doesn't surprise me. It's just the reason that you ranked at the bottom surprised me. If you just said like, I don't like Prince, this sounds like Prince, it sucks. It's
like
I
you're
think she is
you're overstating that point. My opinion on Prince has evolved having married somebody who likes Prince and having just not talked about him for years since Todd's house burned down.
I was about to make another joke, but I decided not to.
Yeah, no. In all seriousness, I stopped saying mean things about Prince in public because I had a friend who was going through a lot of stuff, and he got very upset if I ever mentioned anything negative about Prince. So when he was going through a lot of stuff, I just stopped talking about him at all. And then I listened to a better selection of his music. I still don't like the songs where he just does the wispy falsetto the entire time. Like Kiss, I don't like that song. But I was exposed to a better spectrum of his music, I think, and recognize Purple Rain as for generally the genius song that it is, and actually saw the film Purple Rain, and enjoyed much of the drama of that, melodrama of that. I have my opinions on Prince have evolved.
But in fairness, this track does have the high falsetto that you don't like from Prince in the chorus. So the parts of Prince you don't like are in this track.
Normally I love falsetto, but just like the way Prince tends to do it. I think the trick with falsetto is, falsetto is an accent. If you're just all falsetto all the time, you sound like Tiny Tim, and which is funny, but doesn't make for great music. If you have good accents of falsetto, you sound like, peak Our Lady Peace.
I don't know. I get it. I think just I found Prince to be an acquired taste in the same way that like Billy Corgan's vocals, like it's, rough for outsiders, but then like once you start locking in with the vibe, like, okay, this is just what it is. I can appreciate what it's doing musically. And as someone who is a big Prince fan, hearing Taylor Swift, a woman, do like Prince style vocals in a chorus is actually really cool. I think that's really awesome. Alexis, what do you think about this one?
I can't comment on anything about Prince because I've like only heard Purple Rain, so
I'm
but
impressed you've even heard Purple Rain. I thought, like, who's Prince?
no, I know who he is. I just don't listen to him, okay? But no, this song for me, like, I used to love it so much it probably would have been like in my top, like you had it, but when I re-listened to it, like in preparation for this, it just like kind of just kept falling towards the bottom. I don't really know why. Honestly, this whole album could be like switched any day. I don't
I think
even
that's
know
why I
what
said,
my
are you
ranking
sure
is
your
at this
ranking is
point.
right?
Yeah.
Well, hey, next up is a song that you've ranked very high, and we're looking like kind of in the middle of this ranking. Lover is next on the list, the title track. Solely written by Taylor Swift, no co-writers, which, according to my conspiracy theorist friends, means that somebody else wrote this song. Who actually wrote this song? But who? Why co-writers are credited on some tracks, but not this song? I wish they could explain it to me, but no one has. It's a solid little ballad. I think that yeah, I mean it's catchy. It's simple, but I think that's part of the charm of the piece. Has a nice vibe. Lyrics are good. I think it's musically it sounds. It has a different vibe than most of her catalog, and so I appreciate that it stands out and it's distinct and unique. So yeah, I like it. Thumbs up from me. Steve, you gave it 12 points. What do you think?
So this is towards the top of the block of songs that were mostly boring and ranked by length. But were I to redo my rankings today, I probably would have swapped this one and the one above it, just because that bit where she calls what I can only presume to be calluses her guitar string scars is just such an unhinged and funny metaphor that I probably would have been like, you know what? That lyric is so dumb. One bonus point.
I mean, it is very over the top and campy. It's like Steinman-esque, dare I say. The blood of the
Or
guitar
just
was
like,
Chuck Berry red.
Right? There's a couple ways to read it, right? So, either she is talking about calluses and just like, her rich girl vibe. She's like, my fingers have scars on them from the hard work that I've been doing, like a peasant.
No, I think it's
or she's just really, really bad at playing the guitar and is just smashing her hands open all the time.
I think you're missing the more obvious one
image.
of just like the scars of I have played so many shows and have also like expressed my hurt through songwriting, and so the scars are sort of like the scars of the songwriting on the instrument is probably the where she was going with it.
Yeah, that's less funny though.
Sorry. Alexis, what do you think about this one?
So I kind of think it gives the same vibes of I Think He Knows, but I like this song a lot more, and I feel like it's just one of her best love songs, in my opinion.
I want some elaboration on the same vibes, because one is like an up-tempo
like,
funk song, and one is a like mid-tempo ballad. So other than just like, I think Joe is a nice person, and I'm glad I'm in a relationship with him. What?
I don't think Lover's a ballad. I feel like it's very poppy.
I think it's a I would Steve, would you call this one a ballad?
It's in the boring block, so yes.
I would say this is. It feels what I would describe.
So you shouldn't believe me,
right? Alexis hasn't listened to any music that came out before the year she was born, so you might not know this, but in the '80s there were these things called power ballads, and this one actually has a sort of similar tempo and sparseness to the production of a power ballad, with the difference being there's no sick guitar solo underneath the acoustic guitar. But like really this does feel like a power ballad with like the like the amount of reverb on the snare.
You want to see somebody skydiving in a daytime TV commercial with a compilation featuring this song.
Right, exactly.
Monster Ballads featuring Lover by Taylor Swift.
I mean, all that's missing is a CC DeVille guitar solo, and then boom.
The number of Steinman references we've had in the lead up to this episode.
Alexis, have you listened to Bad for Good yet?
No.
You have to. It's essential listening. All right. So next up on this ranking is another ballad. The Archer is next on the list. Alexis, this counts as a ballad, right?
Yeah, this one's a ballad. I don't think Lover's a ballad.
So you gave this 13 points. Steve gave it 13 points, which means you two agree on the quality of the song.
Well, except this is the one that I probably would have swapped with Lover if I redid my ranking today.
So I gave this 4 points. So I ranked this towards the bottom. Not
one of the lead there, Greg.
Not one of the better track fives, in my opinion. It's still solid. I think that this one, the biggest success of this track is how it just sort of like gradually builds the production. I think that is a very interesting aspect of the song where the production just builds. I think that is cool. But also, I think this does maybe have the worst lyric on the album. All the king's horses, all the king's men couldn't put me together again. That I feel if you're going to do something like that broad, where you're doing like a reference to a children's rhyme, you have to have something really clever and a really clever twist upon it to make that land. And I think the line after it is actually pretty good. But I think if you're just doing something just like that, that line by itself can come off as cringe and awkward and not the best writing. And so that kind of stood out for me. But the line after that, like, all my enemies started off friends, like, okay, that's a cool line. I like that line. But the line before is like, I think isn't as clever as she thought it was, and comes off as melodramatic in not the best way. But again, I still think it's a good song. It's just that line didn't work for me. I wish it was a little bit catchier. Solid.
You know, I would argue that it's not even as bad as that, as far as interpolating elements from nursery rhymes into pop songs go in this era. She just incorporated half of a stanza into one of her lines, whereas some of her contemporaries are, you know, full on just playing the melody to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or whatever as the main hook to their song. I find this much less cringe.
Interesting that I found something more cringe than you on this album. That is wild. Alexis, why is this a beautiful track 5?
I mean, I still agree that it's not the strongest track 5, but I placed it number 5 on my list, so clearly I liked it. But I'm probably also just biased because I got to hear this song live, and that always makes me more biased because, I mean, it was live, so that means it has to rank higher. But also, I do love it lyrically. I can relate to this song too much, so that's why it's also higher for me.
And Steve, did we get your comments on the song other than you just not thinking that line was as bad as I did?
Yeah, so this one is the top of the boring block. I think had it been later in the album, I would have basically presented it without comment. As you saw from reading my notes, Greg, I had several songs that just said regular boring sorted by length. And this would have been that had I realized I was going to do that. Instead, I just, pointed out what in particular I thought was boring, which was that I don't really care about the boy problems of 100 Millionaire.
That's fair. Well, next up on the list is Cornelia Street. I gave it 11 points, Steve gave it 14 points, and Alexis gave it 9 points. Mike gave it 7 points. He's not here. So this is, actually, I think all of the top songs that I have this same complaint with. Yeah, all the songs, there's a bunch of songs I have the exact same complaint with, and this is the first one we've gotten to on the ranking where I think it's a really good song. I think the production does not help this song. I think that it is much better live solo acoustic than on the album. And so when I think of the song and when I want to listen to it, I listen to the Live in Paris version of the song where it really shines as this great heartbreaker of a ballad. And then on the album, it's still really good, but there are certain songs where the singer-songwriter is washed out by the production choices, and this is one of those. I think of the songs I have this complaint with, this is the one that actually is negatively affected by that the least of the three, where it's, the best recording of those three songs, not necessarily the best song of those three, but the best recording, where basically they didn't ruin the recording of it as much as they ruined the other two songs. But yeah, I like this one a lot. I think it's good. Definitely prefer the live version. Alexis, do you prefer the studio version or the live version of this one?
I prefer the live version, but I still think both of them are good. This song just ranked lower for me, honestly, just because it's just kind of depressing and I don't want to listen to it as often as the other ones. And every time I listen to the song, it just reminds me of the fact that the person she wrote the song about is no longer with her, which is kind of what the whole song's about. She's like, I hope you never leave. And then, like, obviously, they're not together anymore.
Steve, what do you think about this? Do you prefer the live version also?
I can't really speak to that. I've not heard it. But I suspect I would half agree with you, Greg, regarding the production. So I ranked this one a little bit higher in that listening to this song, this felt most authentically like Taylor Swift's songwriting voice with less influence from co-writers and following contemporary trends of the time. Like, this is the one that sounds most like a Taylor Swift song. And I had to double check to make sure that this is one of the solo rights. And I was going to be a little shocked if it wasn't. But yeah, this gets some sort of artistic integrity points from me for being a song that I don't find myself distracted by, context of like her and her New Jersey or Swedish friends. What nonsense are they up to? This is just Taylor Swift wrote a song that reflected her experience and then recorded it with production that was less heavily influenced by the standards of the time. So that's the half disagreement, is I think the production of this is probably better for not being the same sort of maximalist production that everything else did.
Oh yeah, no, I think the production on this one is better than a lot of the production on other songs now, but I do think it still was too much for this song. I think it really shines as just like her and an acoustic guitar, which I understand, like, do you want to do 3 of those on this album? I do think this is, well, again, like, even all these versions are still listenable, so even the ones where I'm like, I wish it was a more minimalist production, it still sounds good. I would not call this a bad recording or that the song is ruined necessarily. Yeah.
Ruined.
So next up on the list is another song where I think the production is too much on this track. And I know it's a weird one to think this one is better as a solo acoustic song, but it definitely is. The Man is next on the list. Is it too much for me to want this to be a solo acoustic song when it was one of the big pop singles? Realistically, yes. Is the song way better solo acoustic and has much more bite to it? Also, yes. It's another example of Taylor Swift getting political. And this is the basic white girl feminism of the album, which is like, man, you know, things would be so much easier if I was a dude and didn't have to deal with sexism, which, like, yes, that is a legitimate thing to write about. I appreciate her writing about it. I think the lyrics have a lot of bite to them. I think they're clever. I think the live version of this is so much better because she seems so much more pissed off. And I think the hooks shine better in the acoustic version. But I mean, I think this is a strong single, one of the better songs on the album, and one of the songs with a more interesting thing to say in her catalog. So yeah, good tune. I can see why it's a concert staple. It holds up well. Steve, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Greg. This was not one that I particularly cared for. I feel like the lyricism is half baked. Like, this could have used another couple of passes just to like cut down on the sheer number of times she rhymes the word man with man. Like, it's not hard to rhyme that word. That word is super common. Or like words that end with an "and" sound are very common in the English language. And I think she could have just had a more poetic song expressing the same ideas with a little bit more work. I don't remember. Does she pronounce it again or again? Or again?
What's the line?
I'm sick of running as fast as I can, wondering if I get there quicker if I was a man. I'm so sick of them coming at me again, because if I was a man, I'd be the man.
I think she says it a little bit more straight.
Again or again?
I think again.
Okay. That's a tricky rhyme. That's always fun when you're using again in a song and you're like, wait, shoot, which pronunciation do I need to make it match the next line? But
So now
she chose neither of them actually rhymes with man.
So maybe we should have an actual woman comment on the song. Alexis, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm a woman, and I relate to this song. That's it. But I do think it's fun. I do think it's like better than You Need to Calm Down musically. And also, like, they both have good messages, but I think musically the man is better. Also, with the song Me, which we haven't gotten to yet, I think it's better than that song. It's just my favorite of all the, like, you know, important songs on the album, I guess.
You like it better than the other singles, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, hey, speaking of
maybe.
Me, that is next up on the list. Steve ranked it as his number 1. Mike ranked it as his number 2. I gave it 12 points. And Alexis put it in dead last.
She personally tanked this song from being the number 1 song on the rankings.
Yeah, if you had given it like, if you had just given it like 2 more points, this would have won.
So
I'm glad it
care
didn't.
to explain why?
This is just like the worst song. I do understand why this group of people would put it towards the top. I do understand that because I mean, you guys hate ballads, like you like fun songs. This is a fun song. I can't lie, it's fun. I just still think it's the worst on the album.
No, you do think it's the worst on the album. That's why you ranked it at the bottom.
Yeah, that's what I said. I do think it's the worst on the album.
I misheard you. I thought you said,
fun,
I don't think it's the worst on the
worst.
album. I think calling this the worst song on the album is a bit hyperbolic. Like, looking at some of these other tracks, to say this is the worst song on the album, I don't agree. I think that it is the one that sticks out the most on the album. Is like, this does not necessarily fit in with the rest of this album, but the song is awesome. It's bouncy, it's fun, it's stupid, and it's not having... It's so much less pretentious than a lot of Taylor Swift music, where it's like, it's not trying to be overly clever. So like, we're just making a stupid, fun pop song. And I think that the guy from Panic at the Disco singing on the track is awesome. I think he's a great singer. This was around the time he did the Frozen 2 soundtrack, so I was vibing with Panic at the Disco. I was like, yes, this is a great collab. But this was a great introduction to the Lover era for a lot of people. It's just like, we're going to be bouncy, we're going to be fun, we're going to be a little bit tongue-in-cheek. The "Hey kids" spelling his fun line is great. It's a crime that it got took out of the album. Thankfully, it's still in the music video. But, like, it's okay to just, like, have fun every now and then. Not everything has to be a deep breakup song. I'm glad that this is on the album. And I think that, like, a lot of Taylor Swift fans say this is, like, one of the worst songs in the catalog. It's trash. They hate it. Like, like, bottom 3 song in the catalog. I'm just like, like, I understand, like, not vibing with it and not loving it. But to say it's, like, one of the worst things she's ever done is very silly. I think it's just a fun pop song, and the haters need to calm down. Steve, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, so I think this was in the first pass at this when we were having microphone issues. I was saying this, that while I was listening to this album yesterday, I found myself saying I did not enjoy a single moment of this, and then I realized, getting to this song, that when it first came out, I did enjoy a single moment of this album, and that was "Hey kids" spelling is fun, which I thought was hilarious when they did that. It was just such a silly, over the top thing to do, and the fan base hated it. And I agree with Greg that it was a crime that they felt so pressured to edit that out from all the streaming platforms. When that's easily the best moment of this album. And unsurprisingly, the guy from Panic at the Disco wrote a catchy song that uses only the 1, 4, 5, and 6 chords. That's on brand.
Yeah, I'm still. I mean, Steve, technically, we're wrong in the fandom. Like, the fandom hates the song. This is, like, Alexis is the normal Swiftie in that she does not like me, but, well, I mean, a lot of people don't like me, but that's a whole other.
That did actually take me a second to parse that.
But I don't know. I think the song is great. I think it's good fun. I love it. I've always loved it, and I never got the hate for this one. So next up on the list, ranking number 3, which I ranked as number 1, but this is the panel we're with. Cruel Summer, next up on the list, ranking number 3. Steve gave this 6 points. Mike gave it 11 points. Alexis gave it 12 points. So, for the record, I do think the Karate Kid Cruel Summer song is a banger, a Stone Cold classic. And for the longest time, I actually didn't really even listen to this on Lover, because as soon as it came up and just like, this isn't a cover of the Karate Kid song, skip. And so I just like refused to accept this as being a good song. And I think seeing it live in the Eras Tour movie and really taking my time with it, like, no, this is a really great pop song. And I think it is a very special song because this song, weirdly enough, became a number 1 single like 6 years after its release. And just through just streaming and people just deciding the song was cool, gradually made it like the song of the summer. And so a song from an album that had completely gotten rid of its life cycle promotion, the fact that this ranked number 1 on the Billboard charts is pretty impressive. I think that's really cool, and it's a testament to the quality of the song. I mean, obviously, again, Karate Kid fan, and the other one has the decades of nostalgia towards it. So I get it. And I think that the hooks in the Bananarama song are more punchy and easier to grasp onto. But I do think this is a really great song. Excellent, excellent bridge. One of the best bridges in the catalog. Great melody, great production. I think this is one of the songs where the production really works for the piece. I understand why this song became a fan favorite and think it's excellent. Steve, why is it trash?
Well, okay, so often in previous episodes you've made fun of me for pointing out that a song has the same title as a different song that I like better. But even you admit that like this song set out to be overshadowed by the Bananarama song. Uh and it's got some elements that I generally am a fan of. Like, I like that it's got a vocoder, and I like that it's generally maximalist production. Um, but even on my one listen, there were so many parts that I was like, "Oh yeah, this title came from a Bananarama song. This particular lyric came from an Ed Sheeran song. This particular patch of vocal delivery sounds like Hayley Williams." And I think on more and more listens, I would have heard more and more of those things, and they would have gotten more and more on my nerves, and I would have kept on bumping it further and further down the rankings. So 6 points is probably as high as this one was ever going to get for me.
Alexis, is Cruel Summer a good song?
I think it's a great song. Now, I've never heard the other Cruel Summer song, so I don't know if that one's better or not.
We are so old. We are so old.
So I can't attest to that, but yeah, I'm kind of with Greg. Like, so before it became like a single, I didn't love it as much, and then like a lot of the fans did love it, and I was like, I don't understand why I don't love it as much as everybody else. But then it became a single, and I was like, okay, yeah, they're like kind of right. This song is pretty great. So then it like ranked higher than it would have before it became like a single.
I think this song is a grower, is I think the trick with it. Where the first time you hear it, it's like, yeah, it's not bad. And I think it actually maybe just grew in the cultural zeitgeist the same way where people would listen to like, that actually wasn't that bad. I think it just gradually built and built and built on repeated listens. Because like the first time I heard it, Steve, like I was like, yeah, it's fine. But the original Cruel Summer Bananarama is still better. Like that was my thought. But having lived with them for a while now, I actually lean the Taylor Swift version, which I would never believe because Bananarama, Cruel Summer, stone cold classic, like just an amazing, amazing song. So the fact that I was able to be won over gradually by this song surprises even me. Like I thought, like no way, absolutely not. Cruel Summer, Bananarama, you can't top that. And I was won over. I think they're both great. So it's not like all of a sudden like Bananarama is trash. It's just now I do prefer this song, but they're both great in different ways. Alexis, you should definitely listen to the other Cruel Summer. You won't like it as much because you don't have that much familiarity with the artist and it's old people music, but it's still great.
This is troubling because this suggests that once Taylor Swift realizes that she can have a #1 hit that cribs its name from other iconic songs, then it's only so long before we have Taylor Swift's Video Killed the Radio Star, or Taylor Swift's Jesse's Girl, or Taylor Swift's Your Love by the Outfield. And I'm not looking forward to those.
Or Taylor Swift's Neil Young horse with no name .mp4.
.exe.
Yeah, .exe. So we're at the #2 song on the ranking. It's tied for #1, but it lost with our tiebreaker rules. This one because of Steve. And I'm shocked that you ranked this one this low. When I saw your notes, like that's stupid, but still, Paper Rings is next.
Yeah, it's a little bit arbitrary, but just like the genre. The stomp clap reverb drenched neo folk from the 2000s, I hated that genre on the first pass. Fleet Foxes and Bon Iver are awful, and I don't like listening to them at all. And this sort of borrows elements of that as well as elements from like the post White Stripes, Black Keys, white boy blues genre that I don't have as much antipathy for, but I also don't particularly care for. So it's just she stapled together a bunch of music that I don't like and resulted in a song that I don't like.
I do hear a couple of those influences that you're talking about in the piece, but I think that they're so far removed from the original, like, influence where I don't hear that as much in it, but maybe it's because I don't have as much genuine hatred for that music where any element of it really bothers me. And so what I hear is this is still, I mean, I do hear
Steel
like,
guitars too. There's another instrument that's just like, ooh, I probably hate this if I hear it.
right. And so, but I think they're blended together in such a way where it fits, and on the album it doesn't sound like any of those particular influences. I think the production, especially on the chorus, is really lush and really gives that big over the top production that the rest of the album has. I think that what I love about this piece is that it's high energy. It's consistently moving throughout. And so there's too many mid and low tempo songs in the catalog. So I like that this is a high energy song. I like that it's catchy. I like that we have a big, bright, shiny, happy chorus. And just like the production just adds to that feeling of warmth that you get from the piece. Lyrically, I think it's very cute and pleasant. And I think there's an honesty of just like, yeah, I mean, I would love you to get me a diamond ring, but I'm happy just with your love. So, like, it's being honest, like, yeah, materialism is cool, but love is more important. I think that's a good sentiment and refreshingly honest. I think the vocal performance is great. And it feels like the band is actually really into it. And so I think it's great, a highlight of the catalog, underrated. Alexis, what do you think about Paper Rings?
So I love this song, and I was kind of worried that nobody else here would. Because this song's kind of like, I feel like neutral with the Swifties. Like, a lot of people either love it and they really love it, or they really hate it. It's kind of like the same, you get the same hate as, like, trying to remember what the song's called. It's another Taylor Swift song, but it was on Red. But for some reason, I can't remember what it's called. Oh, Stay, Stay, Stay. People, like, hate that song. Like, the Swifties hate it, but I love that song, and that's what this song is, but for the Lover album. So, like, it gets a lot of hate, but a lot of people also do really love it. And I think it's great, and I love how it, like, it's really fast, but then it, like, slows down, and, like, it gets fast again. It's just, like, it's kind of like giving you whiplash, but it's, like, fun.
But now we're at the number one song on the ranking, so let's go through the list from the bottom to the top. Soon You'll Get Better was not ranked because we don't want to be mean. So, It's Nice to Have a Friend, London Boy, Daylight, I Forgot That You Existed, You Need to Calm Down, False God, Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince, Afterglow, I Think He Knows, Lover, The Archer, Cornelia Street, The Man, Me, Cruel Summer, Paper Rings. But the best song on Lover, according to this panel of experts, is Death by a Thousand Cuts. So this is the song of the three songs I said are better solo acoustic, was the most ruined by the production. I think that a lot of the production is cool in isolation, but kind of feels like a kitchen sink approach where it's not working to highlight the greatness of the song. Solo acoustic, this is one of the best songs in the catalog. On the album, it's like, why do we have like ska guitar here? This doesn't fit with the somber nature of the song. Why are we getting this like over the top, like chimey piano line? Don't get me wrong, I love how over the top is, but it doesn't fit. It just feels like we just stuck this here and it's not working. And so I love the song and I love some of the production elements, but I don't think they work together to bring about this song's true greatness that the solo acoustic version in Paris does. But I mean, it's still a great song. I think I'm not upset that it won. I think it's deserving of winning in terms of the songwriting, but I am disappointed by the production on this particular track. Alexis, what do you think about this one?
I mean, I'm not mad that it won either. It wasn't like in my top 5 or even 3 though, so like I'm a little confused. But I mean, it kind of makes sense for this group of people. Again, like seems like the type of stuff that they would like most out of any of them. I am glad it's getting the appreciation it deserves because I still think it's a great song. I just love this whole album, so like I don't have many thoughts on any of them because I'm just like, they're all good. That's it.
Steve, what do you think about this one?
This album ended up being one of those real, the cream rises to the middle kind of albums that we tend to get with these rankings, where this song wasn't in anybody's top two, and half of us it was right in the middle for. I put this at number 3. It's the influences are obvious. The most obvious influence that stuck out to me was that Lem or more really high clicky backbeat percussive hit. I guess it's probably a woodblock of some sort. But yeah, they basically, they've got that sample in there, which obviously sticks out a lot. But I think that's also enough of a classic, somewhat deep cut of a sample to use that it doesn't really get on my nerves. That's more pleasantly evocative, and otherwise it's just sort of an okay song. I think
that part bothers me.
Production is good. I suspected based on what you're saying. Like, as soon as somebody says, "Why does this have ska guitar?" I'm like, "What? What? Why wouldn't you put ska guitar in something? Do you not like things that are good?"
I think this is the wrong song for a ska guitar on this album. I think
you're right. You should have put it on "Soon You Get Better."
I think the somber ballad. I feel like the ska guitar doesn't necessarily work on the somber ballads. If you had stuck the ska guitar on me, I would be like, yeah, this is fine. Add some ska guitar and trumpets to me. I'm not gonna be like, this song is like this song is better now. But add ska guitar to the ballads. Again, it's mainly because, maybe I'm sore because I've heard the live version so much, but it's so significantly better. That's like, why'd you put this bullshit in here? Come on. But that is our ranking. So closing thoughts. Alexis, when we first started talking about this album, like before the stream, you're just like, you were kind of like sounding negative on the album. Just like, I love her. I don't know if it's that good. And then after talking about all the songs, like, I love this album. It's great. So what's the deal, Alexis?
I don't know. I was just nervous that everybody was going to like hate all of the songs that I like, which I mean, that kind of happened. So that's why I like didn't want to talk about it, because I didn't want to have to talk about the fact that I love all the songs that you guys hate. But like I do really like all the songs on this album. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I guess this album is kind of a no skip for me. Like, I would listen to all of them. Like, sometimes I choose not to, but like I would. Like, I wouldn't really skip any of them. Kind of like same thing with Reputation. Like, I was just like afraid I would be offended that nobody would like the songs I liked on that album, but it kind of went my way with that one, but this one didn't go my way as much.
I do think this is an easier no skip album in that, like, the worst songs on the album aren't aggressively bad. Like, as low as the lowest lows are just like, it's fine. I won't run to hit the skip button because I'm busy prepping food, so I'll just deal with it. Versus, this song is so bad, I will wash my hands and stop what I'm doing to hit the skip button. So there's none of those in this album. I don't know. I think this is a good album. It has some really high highs, some of the best tracks in the catalog. Like, I think it's a solid album. I think it's maybe slept on a little bit by the fandom because I think people hated Reputation so much that now it's being overhyped. And I think that the significant increase in quality in the lyricism of Folklore and Evermore makes people kind of look at Lovers like in between. It's like, oh yeah, that's all right. But I think it's a great album. Steve, how are you walking away from this album? Because it seems like the more we talked about, the more you're like, oh, I can appreciate the lyricism of the politics. They're like, it feels like you're still not going to ever listen to this album again, but maybe respect it more on the other side of the stream than before.
I hated the album and will not be listening again, but I do recognize that oftentimes I am unfair. So this is just some of those things, sometimes you have to just accept that sometimes people don't like you, and sometimes the reasons that people don't like you aren't very reasonable, but they are those people's owns, and all you can do is accept your own life. We also have some commentary in the comments with follow-up questions for the panel.
Oh, cool. I did not see those. Please give them to me.
Yeah, so we have one person We have Ebruary asked us if we think that maybe this album speaks to a specific experience that very few people can fully connect to. Maybe that's why it didn't land with quite the same impact of some of her other albums.
I have never dated a hot British boy, so I guess that might be part of the reason why it doesn't click with as many people. Specifically because I haven't dated a hot British boy. That's why people can't connect with this album. If I had dated a hot British boy, everyone would be like, yeah, Lover's the best album.
I feel like out of everybody here, I probably am the one that relates to it the most. That's probably why I like it better than everybody else here, but
I mean, I like this one a lot.
I've never dated a hot British boy or been a 100 millionaire, so.
Do we have any other follow-up questions?
There's some commentary, but no, that's the only question. The Ebruary also tells it says Alexis has some good points, and that all these songs are 6 or 7 out of 10 on quality usually.
I think there are a couple that are higher quality than 6 or 7 out of 10, but I think the lowest it gets is like a 6 out of 10 for a Taylor Swift fan. For a Steve, they're like 1 out of 10, trash. This sounds like Prince.
Right.
But for a Taylor Swift fan,
they did say at least 6 or 7 out of 10.
Okay, yeah. All right, well, I think that's the stream. Now it's time for plugs. Alexis, what do you want to promote this week?
I guess just go listen to Taylor Swift's new album.
And Steve, what do you want to promote this week?
Well, as always, I recommend listening to Regdar and the Fighters or Nuclear Bubble Wrap. But as well this week, fellow Needlejuice Records artist Icosahedron released an album called Forest Creatures, which is sort of a collection of lo-fi twee pop songs with the unifying theme of a town rallying to go destroy the perceived monsters in the woods and then discovering that the monster all along was actually man. And it's pretty great, and you should listen to that. Or at least the new Old Dead Tree single. AFI also had an album come out this week, but I'm going to need to sit on that one a little bit because it did not grab me right away.
Yeah, and as far as what I want to promote, come on my Discord. We've got a Taylor Swift room on the Discord. So if you want to talk about Taylor Swift with me and Alexis, who is on the Discord but doesn't respond too often, come hang out and we'll talk about Taylor Swift there. Thanks so much for watching.
If you want to tell me how wrong I am.
Tell Steve how wrong he is. You are free to do that. But yeah, we'll see you on the next stream. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Internet.
Bye, Internet. All right. We had someone